Welcome to Wembley, where the atmosphere is building up for this final of the Benson & Hedges Masters, to be played today over 17 frames and due to begin in 2 or 3 minutes' time. Steve Davis, the reigning world champion, against Terry Griffiths, making his third appearance running in this final. He was the winner 2 years ago. This one of the few major prizes that Davis has yet to win, but the bookies see him today as a 3-to-1 on favourite. And a full house expected here of some 2,700 for this match. A lot of expectation about it, of course, although Davis is the favourite. Griffiths holds a victory over him this month, so it should be a tight match. For the winner, the first to take 9 frames, prize money of £8,000 and half that to the loser. Well, with me is John Spencer, who won this Masters title just a few years ago. John, I see that Davis is 3-to-1 on. Do you think that's a realistic price?
Well, no, I would never think 3-to-1 on in a 2-horse race at snooker is fair odds. Of course, one of the things in Terry's favour, Steve had the hoodoo on Terry, of course, beating him comfortably in 2 UK championships. But this victory that Terry had over Steve in the Larder International will no doubt have done his confidence a lot of good.
Mind you, it was a narrow victory, wasn't it, that?
Yes, but he was rather unfortunate, Terry. He was leading 8-3 and had a pink to clinch the match and got a bad kick on it. And, of course, from that, had he knocked the pink in, it was over 9-3, so he still finished up winning. That you know, that's the thing in the mind.
That'll give him some confidence.
Oh, yes.
Now, the thing about Davis is he always starts so well, doesn't he?
Well, I think the first couple of frames could be the key to the whole match, because Steve has this ability to come out and right from the word go, he starts playing as though he's been playing 2 or 3 frames, where most players take a couple of frames to settle down. So if Terry can contain him in the first 2 frames, then I think we're in for a hell of a match.
Now, you know them both very well, and you know what goes on in that dressing room down there when the old bow ties are being fitted. Are they nervous sort of chaps before they come out?
Well, if they're not nervous, they won't play well.
Really?
I believe that nerves, tension, it's not nerves, it's tension before the match. And if you don't get this tension, I believe this converts into concentration when you start playing. And if you're not tense before the match, or certainly myself, then my concentration's just not there.
With due difference to yourself and all the other world champions over the years, people are saying that Steve is the best snooker player of all time. What's your view on that?
Well, obviously, that's too early to say, but he's done probably more in 12 months than anyone's ever done. I mean, he's come from nowhere. I mean, he's been around a while, Steve, but of course in the professional game, he's just come and when he gets playing well, he's like a machine. As we saw against Tony Mayo in this tournament. The first 4 frames, he never missed a pot. But then all of a sudden, you see, Tony got back into the game. And it's a strange game, snooker. It can change on one shot.
Yeah. But Griffiths, of course, he came straight in and went straight to the top and then faded a little bit. It's quite difficult to stay there once you get there, isn't it?
That's right. It's always easier, I believe, to win the tournament for the first time. Retaining the tournament is the most difficult, because of course you have nothing to win. You can only lose the tournament or retain it. You're not winning anything, and I think this is a lot more difficult.
John, thank you very much indeed. We're all looking forward to what should be a thrilling match. Remember, it's the best of 17 frames. The first player to win 9 frames becomes the Benson & Hedges Masters champion for this year. Well, the players just about to come into the hall, so we can join the action now, and I'll transfer you over.
Very good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's welcome our BBC One viewers this afternoon here at the Wembley Conference Centre and get straight into our final, the 8th final of the Masters Championship. Featuring, from Wales, ranked number 3 in the world, former Benson & Hedges Masters champion, world champion in 1980, Terry Griffiths. His opponent from London, this title, the only one to elude him, ladies and gentlemen, the world champion, Steve Davis. Welcome, Steve. Your referee, Mr. John Street, they have tossed a coin, and it is Terry to break. But just before that, a pause for a few photos, if you wouldn't mind, gentlemen. Thank you.
So there we are, the players taking their photo call for a moment, but they'll be due off in just a few seconds. So let's now join our commentators for the match, Rex Williams and Ted Lowe.
And whilst the cameramen take their pictures of Terry, we promise you a Sunday afternoon spectacular. Steve Davis in front of the cameras. With the hilarity, one would hardly realise there's some £12,000 at stake between these two boys. By the time they finish this final, right in front of them, the gold trophy that goes to the winner, together with £8,000. Griffiths, of course, has been in this final for the past 2 years, his third year in the final. He's won it once. Steve Davis, very anxious to win it, for it's the one title he's missed in his long string of titles. And now we settle down to the real thing, the first of 17 frames.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First frame, Terry Griffiths to break. One.
The first red goes to Griffiths.
Eight. Eight. Terry Griffiths.
Sharing commentary with me on the opening of this final is the expertise of Rex Williams.
Well, that was the first chance there for Terry, and Both players eager to try and settle down as quickly as possible. Very important to get off the mark quickly. Both these players will have been thinking about this match all morning, and then all the preliminaries with the photographers, and it's all very unsettling. Tremendous tension.
One.
And those are the pots that have won so many titles for this 24-year-old Londoner.
Eight. Nine.
No.
Nine. Steve Davis.
Uncharacteristic.
Well, this is quite a good chance here for Terry, because he will leave position on the blue and can possibly get into the pack of reds afterwards.
One.
Could now pop the blue and come off the cushion and just go right into the pack of reds and try and disturb a few.
Six. Seven. Twelve. 13. $18. $19.
Again, not quite on the blue in the way that he intended. Not easy to get onto another red. Maybe, possibly this time, contemplating clipping the blue in and just taking the cue ball into the bunch of reds. And I think that possibly is one
24.
there that will just go.
$25.
That puts him 30 points ahead.
$31. $32. $32. Terry Griffiths. Steve Davis 9. Terry Griffiths 40.
Well, that was the one that Terry wanted, because he was going on to another red behind the black, and now this is certainly a good chance for Steve.
1. $8. $9.
Got himself a little bit nearer the cushion than he would have liked. Stunning it onto the one red to hold the cue ball. Not that easy. And he missed the cannon. Played the cannon onto the red, which is behind the pink, and hold position on another red.
16.
And all that Steve can do now, I would think, is play a safety shot.
I think he had a go at that one,
Steve
Rex.
Davis.
Yes, Steve had to go at the plan, but of course he knew that the cue ball was going back to the bulk end of the table and into a reasonably safe position. And the red that went near the pocket, unfortunately, I don't think Terry can quite get at. Well, real problems here for Terry, because if he can just clip the one red, certainly can't leave it in a safe position. So this is a really difficult position. Trying to bring the cue ball back, get right underneath and bring it back to the top cushion.
And he's made quite a mess of that. Four reds to go, and Steve Davis trailing by 15 points.
Yes, he was in real trouble there, Terry, and in fact, he would have been very lucky to have got out of it safe.
One. Seven. Eight.
Within 1 point.
14. Steve Davis.
I don't think he'd be very happy about that.
Terry Griffiths, 40. Steve Davis, 39.
Well, Steve's got away with that pretty well. This is not only safe, but a little bit awkward. Not easy for Terry to play a safety shot, or a good safety shot. Yes, it was a very difficult position, and considered himself a little bit unlucky, I think, there.
One.
Now, this final red is not particularly easy to get onto. I think it will only go into the bulk right-hand pocket, and got to get right in the perfect position because it's obstructed by the brown. And the position of the cue ball doesn't look good.
Seven. Seven, Steve Davis.
Well, Terry will be very pleased with that. That's twice he's been snookered, and each time got out of it and left the cue ball and red pretty safe. Well, absolutely dead safe.
A chance then for Griffiths, 6 points behind at the moment.
One. Five. Seven.
Well, Terry's overhit that one a little bit, and still expecting to get this shot with the rest, but just made that a little bit more difficult. And also because having
10.
to use that with the rest, not quite in such a good position on the brown.
14.
Well, Terry will be 13 in front if he pots this blue. So still needs the pink.
What a bad miss that
14, Terry Griffiths. Steve Davis, 46, Terry Griffiths, 54.
And 18 points still on the table.
Well, I think that Terry's snookered here, but no problem hitting the blue. But of course, it's where the blue finishes. So we'll be hoping a little bit here.
Terry Griffiths with a nasty little shot if he attempts to cut back into the centre pocket.
No, I think it's too fine to cut it. I think all he can do is play a safety shot from this position.
And Steve knew as soon as he struck that he'd done it wrong, but he's a bit fortunate.
Well, the biggest problem is that Terry still needs the pink, so it's difficult to control this. And this is a tough pink.
5.
A big struggle then for the first of our 17 frames. But finally, Terry Griffiths puts that first frame on the scoreboard.
Well, I would think that Terry is very, very pleased to get that first frame under his belt, because he looked the more tense of the two players before they started, and then potted one or two good balls, settled down very nicely indeed, then missed that black, put Steve right back in amongst them, and nearly lost the frame, and then of course had quite a few anxious moments. I would think he's very pleased.
And Rex, a very unusual position for Steve Davis here. Normally known to be a great starter, and very rarely has he lost the first frame.
Yes, that's true, Ted, but make no mistake about it that Steve can play well under pressure.
The one title that he missed out of all the titles he won over the past 14 months. This is the one he's really after. Now trailing by just one frame.
Quiet, please, ladies and gentlemen. Settle down, please.
Waiting for the audience to
Thank you.
settle down for the second frame.
Terry Griffiths leads by 1 frame to 0. Steve
Capacity
Davis to
crowd
break.
here at the Wembley
Second frame.
Conference Centre. I have an idea, Rex. There's a red into the top pocket there. The black is free.
I'm not sure that if he plays this shot that he can get through onto the black, because the angle looks to me that he will kiss into the other reds, but obviously must think that he can because he's playing the shot.
One.
Well, I think that probably Terry thought that that would happen. I think the only ball that he can hit is
Green
the
ball.
green.
One. Terry Griffiths.
Didn't play to pot that. Played a little swerve shot and swerved it a little bit too much.
One. 6. Six.
Well, Terry was unhappy with that from the start, and I think he's made a big mistake now. 7 points ahead at the moment.
Well, Steve has got a couple of reds here that he can take, but neither of them that easy to control it to get on the colour, just looking at the best one. And able to just get the right contact on the second red to open the pink.
Seven. Eight.
Would have also liked to move the black into a more open position there when playing onto the pink.
Fourteen. $15.
Played that shot with a tremendous amount of side to check it back
21.
onto this other red.
$22. $28.
No problem here with the pot, I don't think, but it's getting onto another colour.
And my word,
29.
they have broken beautifully.
35.
Yes, I think that was quite a nice little touch on the angle of the centre pocket there, because Steve, I think, would have been in near the jaws of the corner pocket. Certainly a very much better shot that he's got now.
$36.
Underhit that one a little bit, played to come a little bit further and leave the blue into the centre pocket.
Brown ball. $36. Steve Davis. Terry Griffiths 7, Steve Davis 36.
One of those shots to nothing that often pays dividends.
Four. Four, Terry Griffiths.
That was a little bit of a loose shot there from Steve, and I think that he's very fortunate to have got out quite as well. Yes, that was a difficult shot that Terry was playing, and a little bit unlucky there not to get a better chance.
Steve unable to get at the red in the jaws of the pocket. Oh, that shot can certainly win this second frame. Don't forget there are the best of 17 frames in this Benson Hedges final.
Seven. Eight. Thirteen. Fourteen. $19.
This red, of course, means that Terry Griffiths will need snookers.
$20. $26. $26. Steve Davis. Terry
51
Griffiths,
points
11.
adrift.
Steve Davis, 62.
Only 43 points on the table.
Well, Terry needs 2 snookers, even if he takes 2 blacks for these final 2 reds, so it's a pretty hopeless position.
1.
And by taking this blue, that will mean that he needs 3 snookers.
Six. Six. Terry Griffiths.
Didn't play the pot, that played a snooker. And Terry will be trying to get the snooker with this final red on the tail, because if he does get it and Steve misses it, chance of free ball. So it's always better to leave this final red on.
Stroke 4, Steve Davis.
That surely is curtains for Terry.
One. Three. Five.
Well, Steve shakes his head then. Nearly went in the centre pocket, but it wouldn't have mattered at this position in the game.
Eight. Twelve. 17. $23.
delightful clearance then by the wonder boy of snooker, Steve Davis, to take the second frame and make it all square, 1 frame each.
So 1 frame each. Remember, the first to 9 to take this Benson and Hedges Masters title. Well, I think, John Spencer, you would agree that play's been a little bit nervy so far, hasn't it?
Yes, both first frames have. Terry early on in that frame had a couple of chances to get a nice few points in front, and I think he only scored 8 in his first visit and broke down and let Steve in for a 28 break. And Steve broke down when you would least expect it as well. There's been quite a few misses, and I think this can only be tension.
Right, we were saying at the start that Davis normally starts well and wins the first frame, and of course he let us down.
Yeah, of course Terry gets in and wins the first frame, and of course Steve has bounced back now and taken the second.
Yeah.
But as I say, not the snooker you'd expect from the two of them.
Well, of course, we all know about the skill factor in the game of snooker, but you need an element of luck too, and I think we had an example in that frame where Davis had an element of luck, didn't he, and put himself nicely on the pink.
Yes, it was a clever shot, actually. This is the shot. He's stuck for position, so he plays this red as hard as he can with a lot of side to break the other reds up and hoping to get on a colour. He had no idea where the colours was, where the white was going to finish.
Yes.
But of course, if he got in trouble, he could have played safe.
Well, indeed, he did get on the pink there, although we stopped that a little bit short. Anyway, we can go back now for frame 3. We've only got about 5 minutes more of this transmission, but you can enjoy that now.
Both searching for that initial opening and both trying to stop the other one getting it.
Would you mind sitting down, please? Thank you very much.
Well, there, I'm afraid we must leave for this Benson Hedges Masters final in the third frame. It's one frame each between Davis and Griffiths, and we'll have continued coverage for you at 10 minutes to 4. Hello there, welcome back to the final of this Benson and Hedges Masters. World champion Steve Davis against former champion Terry Griffiths. The final, the best of 17 frames, means the first one to win 9 frames takes today's first prize of £8,000. Now, if you were with us earlier, you'll know we left the match when it was 1 frame all. Griffiths won the first, Davis the second. We now join frame 3. Davis leads by 8 points to 6 and is at the table, and the commentators Rex Williams and Ted Lowe.
So following 12.5 minutes of safety play, Steve Davis takes himself 1 more punt in front of Terry.
Six. Seven.
Yes, this is a good opening for Steve. Blue and pink out in the open, black
12.
tied up, but he can get a lot of points before trying to disturb the black.
$13.
Don't think he's quite pulled that cue ball back as much as he would have liked.
$19. $20.
Play to disturb the reds and hold himself with the pink in the center there.
Not enough legs.
20. Steve Davis.
Very difficult shot. Very close on the pink, made it terribly difficult to avoid pushing it, and
Terry Griffiths 6.
of course
Steve Davis
didn't quite
28.
strike it hard enough.
One. Seven. Eight. $14.
Played to get a fuller contact on that red and push it towards the pocket a little bit more.
$15.
And still struggling.
15, Terry Griffiths.
The difference then now down to just 7 points. Great shot by Griffiths, but he's a little near that cushion.
Seven. Eight.
Terry goes ahead.
What a good red that opening red was from Terry. Forced into playing it, couldn't play a safety shot, had to go for it, and he's created this opening from it.
$14. 15. 21. 21, Terry Griffiths. Terry Griffiths, 42. Steve Davis, 28.
And still 4 reds to go.
One.
Had to come on a colour in just the right position to disturb the reds around the black. Can't do much with this. Just trickling behind the yellow.
One. Steve Davis. Pardon? All right, isn't it? Yeah, it will be hard this time. All right, thank you. Yeah.
Well, there we had Terry asking the referee to clean the ball, but the cue ball is in such a very awkward position, almost touching the yellow, and he said, well, it will be very difficult to clean it this time and get it back there, so probably waiting for the next shot.
And what a lovely shot.
And if Steve wants the ball clean, the same thing could happen again here. It was a tremendous shot.
That was an extraordinary shot by Terry Rex.
Yes, he took quite a bit of a risk there. I think that he thought the second red would clip the other one more onto the top cushion, but completely misjudged it and left that easy opening red for Steve.
Five. Five. Steve Davis.
Well, that wasn't an easy shot. And now, after quite a little bit of time, Terry's getting the ball clean. Obviously, a kick happened quite a few shots back.
One.
And that puts him 15 points ahead with the last red on the table.
And he hasn't got on this red the way he would have liked. And now I would think only play a safety shot. The difference in coming just that extra few inches and getting onto the red.
Seven. Terry Griffiths.
Very
Steve
good
Davis,
shot.
34. Terry Griffiths, 49.
Well, I think that he's got out of it reasonably well. I don't think that he can pot it. From this angle, it looks a little bit difficult, but well, obviously he could pot it, and just having a look, Steve, is to see if he's hidden the red behind the yellow.
One.
"23 points ahead as he comes to the colours.
8.
Well, that's enough to leave Steve needing snookers.
$17. $22. $28.
The longest frame of the final so far, then, some 32 minutes to decide Terry Griffiths 1 frame ahead at 2 frames to 1.
Well, perhaps neither player settled down completely yet, but I know, John Spencer, there was one shot by Terry Griffiths in that particular frame that you admired. It had you leaping out of your seat.
Yes, Desmond, probably one of the best shots I've seen in snooker.
Really? That good?
Yes.
I think we'd better have a look at it.
Couldn't possibly have played a better shot. This, of course, is where Terry's snooker behind the yellow, and he's gone off 5 cushions. We'll see the white at the side cushion, the baulk cushion, across the table, and there is just room for the white to go between the brown and the centre pocket. I think he misses the brown by about an inch there, and just misses the jaws of the centre pocket there, and comes across the table, but not just the angles that he's played this shot at, but the pace. If he goes a fraction too hard, he leaves the red on, and as we see, he just nudges into the red. If he'd have knocked it half an inch, he'd have left this red over the corner pocket. I mean, a tremendous shot. I couldn't believe it when I saw it.
Marvellous shot indeed. I wonder what he was up to, actually, going off in that direction to begin with.
Oh, the average player would wonder where he was going.
Right, John, thank you very much indeed. So Griffiths, the underdog, ahead at this stage. 36, the biggest break so far, incidentally, by Davis in the second frame. Well, we're now going to join the start of the 4th frame, and Davis is about to break.
One.
Well, that was a tremendous pot there from Steve.